Good morning and welcome to Mortgage Minute Monday. I'm Tria Kreitzer, owner of the Joe Carbone team, here with Lisa Baxter, loan officer with First Community Mortgage. And we are super excited on this series to also have joining with us Tom Voli with First Nations Credit. Tom has been an absolute godsend for us and our clients, Lisa. Over the past several years, getting people really up to par and qualified and be able to manifest their actual homeownership dreams. Just recently, we had a closing where Tom got someone that wasn't loan ready to being loan ready in 90 days. And we just thought it would be great to have him on our show and have a whole series on discussing credit. So this week, we're going to discuss the importance of knowing how credit operates. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tria. And Lisa, it's a pleasure to be here. And
Welcome.
uh, yeah, I'm really excited because I feel sharing this type of information gives people the foundation they need to get off on the right foot.
And hope.
Yes, yeah, and in times like this, it's important. I mean, I think we all can identify that the government's not going to give us anything that we don't beg for or fight for. So they give us some outlines in credit as well that we can follow, and there's shortcuts and things that you can do to improve your own position. You just can't let them tell you what everything will dictate, and that seems to be where some people get lost.
Right.
What I was going to discuss initially was just how credit operates, because I think many people are missing that particular foundation. I mean, it all starts with one thing, and that is how do they accumulate information to give me a score? Well, each of these creditors pays the bureaus to put information on your report. So if you open up a credit card, that credit card company has to pay each of the bureaus to put that information on the report. So some you'll find, whoa, it only shows up on one bureau because that particular source didn't want to pay the other two bureaus. So it's only going to show up on one bureau. Um, the importance of knowing these types of things gives you an ability to almost control the scores because you'll know what dictates them. The foundation of the score starts with just a handful of things: payment history, which is paramount. That says what you've been doing over the last 7 years. Have you been on time? Because they take a 7-year snapshot. It's not just how is my stuff today. I paid that current yesterday. Why are my scores so horrible today? Because
Hmm.
it's a 7-year snapshot. So once you understand they're looking back 7 years, then you understand, okay, well, then long term I have to be very maintained. Okay, well that's the obvious. But then the other things that impact the score are not so obvious. The age of the profile. Now this is again something that's seemingly hard to control, but there's even shortcuts there that we'll get into it later in the series. The age of the profile is extremely important because it shows how long have you been making uh, solid payments, and that leads to uh, creditors trusting the profile and willing to extend credit. Um, when it's a brand new account, you just opened it, and it takes a while to build a history with that, so it doesn't immediately establish the credit you might think. And then the last thing is the diversity of the profile. Is there just a
Mm.
credit card on this and nothing else? Is there just an auto loan? Because the more diverse the profile is, the more trusting and powerful that the profile becomes at any score level. Because even at a 620, if you have the diversity, it tends to open up other opportunities that might not be available to you, and such as personal loans, a higher limit credit cards because you've been in the system a while. But the understanding of the profile's score is kind of important. And when you're looking at a credit profile, the number of the score can vary through the month because of the way scores operate.
It's
Creditors pay,
fluid, right?
yeah, creditors all update at different times of the month. So in the first week of the month, they may not have updated your payments yet, and it's so the scores haven't really moved.
Hmm.
Also, different sources have different scores. Because you'll say, "Oh, Credit Karma shows this," but when the mortgage pull happens, it's you're 60 points lower, and that is because each source pays the bureau for each piece of information. So an auto loan, they're not interested in your credit card payments, or they're not interested in the mortgage payments.
Right.
They're interested in have you had a repo. So
That
they
makes sense.
subscribe to the information relevant to their business. Whereas a mortgage pull, they want to see everything. So that's why a mortgage pull is the most accurate score for where you really are. The and the various sources, because of all of this, it means that you can't really get consistent score information if you have an active file. Now, there's a difference between an active file and one that's just steady or very consistent. Once a person has his house and he has his credit cards and he has his car loan, he's not using his credit, so he's just making payments every month. That becomes a nice steady profile. But when you're applying for credit, new inquiries, other stuff getting paid off, everything is changing so fluidly that you have to allow for that. So don't expect scores to be the same every time you pull. Don't get worried if they pull back 6 points. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the stuff that's on that report. Is there enough of it to develop a credit score? Is it beefy enough to qualify for a mortgage? And that's something that can be planned out. Okay, so the game plans can be put in place.
Great. Thank you so much, Tom. And we'll meet back up next week for analyzing your credit with Tom Voli. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great week.
Thank you.